Hi, happy Motivational Monday. My name is Kira. I am your host, and today we are dropping into more of how the brain works on gratitude. So, last week we covered stress and overwhelm, and it was actually a two-part series that we ended up turning it into where we talked about stress and overwhelm. The first part of the series, we talked about what the difference between stress and overwhelm is. And then last week, we talked about our window of tolerance, which is the place where we can handle what life throws at us. And then we also talked about here's your window of tolerance. If you are at a heightened state of stress, then you need to down regulate to get back to your window of tolerance. And that would be things that calm you down, such as aromatherapy, journaling, affirmations, reading, taking a bath, breath work, yoga, things along those lines. And then we also talked about overwhelm. Again, this is your window of tolerance. We have overwhelm, which is where you are underneath your threshold for being able to handle anything. So you're basically unable to process or handle anything that's going on, and you are just in a freeze state. So that requires us to upregulate. That requires us to get our energy back up and to get ourselves in a place where we can start taking movement again. So that would look like taking yourself on a 5-minute walk. That could also look like a yoga class. That could look like a more intense breathwork practice, such as breath of fire, things along those lines. And so that's what we talked about last week. This week, I know it's a little bit cliche, but we're talking about gratitude because Thanksgiving was last Thursday. And really, it's setting us up for the conversations that are happening for the remainder of the month. And I've been thinking, I've been pondering. You guys have no idea how much I spend time throughout the week thinking about, like, okay, what's going to have the greatest impact for them? How can I support them? And that's why filling out the survey and commenting in the chat and letting me know where you're at is so helpful for me because I just ponder throughout the weeks and I'm like, what are we going to talk about? So, this week we're talking about how the brain works on gratitude because I want you guys there's just so many fluff words around gratitude, and actually drop 111 in the chat if you currently have a gratitude practice. Drop 222 in the chat if you don't have a gratitude practice yet. Very curious. The reason why I ask is because we do get told on a regular basis to be grateful, to have gratitude, that it's so good for us, all of these things. But I don't think that, at least for me, I'm the type of person where once I know what it does in my brain and how it helps with all these other things, I'm so much more motivated to have a practice because one of my top values is health. And I'm like, oh, if just being more grateful makes me happier, gives me a longer lifespan, decreases my blood pressure, then I'm absolutely in for it. Sign me up, take me on this journey. So that's what I would like to gift to you today. And then next week, we're going to be talking about really how to navigate family dynamics in general. One of the things that I've loved to study the most is relationships. And I read this book called How to Give a Good Apology, which we'll talk about next week, that changed the way that I see my relationships and how I see conflict and how I see resolution. And I won't say too much on it because we'll talk about it next week, but it's just a perfect time of year to talk about family things because we're all in heightened proximity with our families. And then the week after it, which I'm so excited about, we are doing the happiness hormones. So having the conversation about gratitude leads so well into both of those two topics that we have upcoming. And invite your people to Motivational Monday. If you have people that you work with that you haven't told about Motivational Monday yet, but you're on all of these calls, what are you doing? Email a friend right now. Just send them the link and be like, I think you would like this, and let them start getting all of the goodness that we've been going through as well, because they deserve it too. So let's see what's up in the chat before we dive in. Okay, cool. Some of you have gratitude practices. Some of you don't have gratitude practices. It's something that we get to develop over time, right? And I wore a hoodie just for you. I have a message for you, and I was putting it on today, and I was like, ooh, this hoodie's just for you. Look, hold on, I'm trying to squat. My You Are Enough hoodie, because you're enough. Okay, so we are going to dive right in. And the first thing that we are going to watch is a video that talks about what gratitude actually does in the body and how it impacts us in regards to our health, our hormones, everything along those lines. And then we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. And for those of you who do have gratitude practices, how do you use those in your life? Like, what does that look like? Does it look like journaling? Does it look like waking up and being grateful. What does that look like for you?
Show that adopting an attitude of gratitude, simply expressing appreciation and being thankful, can measurably improve your overall well-being. For example, studies prove that gratitude can increase happiness, reduce depression, and strengthen resiliency. Grateful people often experience reduced blood pressure, less chronic pain, increased energy, even longer lives. People who purposefully express more gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and they're more likely to help others. A pro-social behavior also linked to greater happiness. People who capture grateful thoughts before bed sleep better than those who don't. Why so many positive changes? Because gratitude actually rewires our brains, kickstarting the production of dopamine and serotonin. Like antidepressants, these feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, creating feelings of happiness and contentment. This appears to be self-perpetuating. Research suggests that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts, and to deflate the negative ones. Here are a few simple ways to deliberately cultivate that attitude of gratitude. Celebrate minor accomplishments. Think about what you have rather than dwelling on what you don't. Tell the people in your life something you appreciate about them. Tell yourself too. Volunteer, hold a door for a stranger, or simply smile more, and you'll probably feel better, as kindness and giving are connected to gratitude. Similar positive brain changes can occur from regular meditation and mindfulness. Keep a daily gratitude journal using an old-fashioned notebook or a high-tech app. The science is clear. Give gratitude a go. You will thank them you did.
Gratitude is so beneficial to our health, and it resets and rewires us to be more positive, to see more greatness in life, to be more motivated, to take more action in the ways that are good for us and our soul. And with that, being able to have that is so important. And it literally changes your wiring in your brain to be more grateful. So, Brandy starts her journal entry with gratitude, which I love. The more that I shifted into gratitude, the more that I had less stress in my life. Drop 333 in the chat if you experience more stress than happiness on a regular basis. And drop 444 in the chat if you experience more happiness than stress on a regular basis. Exactly what I expected. Most of you are experiencing more stress than happiness in your lives. And we talked about stress and overwhelm over the past couple of weeks. And one of the things that I really wanted to be so clear about with you was that stress and overwhelm have to do with perception. It's about how you perceive the world around you. Same thing with gratitude. If you're practicing more gratitude and you're seeing the greatness in the things around you, even the hard things, like even when I was going through Hurricane Helene, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to know that we live on such a powerful planet where like nature just comes in and takes her charge. And, there was also so many other sad and like destructive moments, but it's just like, being able to appreciate even the little things is so important. And maybe that's not like a relevant example to you. So my living situation is not the living situation that I want it to be. And I'm working really hard to change it, and it's amazing. However, it takes work and it takes time. And during the time that it takes the work and it takes time to change that, I could be very upset and I could be really despising the fact that I am where I am and whatever, even though it's a perfect position for me to be in, it's just not ideally where I want to be. And even this past week, I've switched that and I've been like, okay, what am I grateful for? What are the things that being in this position, like, where are the worst places I could be? Like, there are people who don't have homes. There are people who live in tin shacks. There are people who have been homeless and live on the streets for years. I don't. I have a beautiful life. And even having gratitude for that has made it so much easier to start to put the actions and habits in place to get me to where I know that I'm going to go. And it's making it happen a lot easier because I'm bringing in more of that ease just through having gratitude. Because when you're stressed about something and you're not happy about it, you contract and you shut yourself off. But with gratitude, you're more open to possibilities. So, this next video I'm going to show you is Dr. Andrew Huberman talking about gratitude and bringing it a little bit more practically into what it looks like as a human, bringing a gratitude practice into your life and how that supports it. So, let's get this video pulled up for all of us. Has this been helpful for you so far? Is this connecting some dots? Drop 555 in the chat if it is. I see more people popped on since the beginning. Did you guys share this link like I asked you to? Oh my gosh, you're amazing. These are conversations that most people should be hearing. And I know that because I had to very intentionally teach myself all of this over the past few years. And now I get to teach you.
Gratitude sounds like complacency, and people are like, oh, I don't want to be a navel gazer. Then I'm not going to be content. Then people fear that they're not going to be in pursuit. They're like, I'm just happy with where I'm at. But serotonin resets dopamine, which puts you back in the fight and allows you to fight longer and further. And I guess I'm doing this a lot today, but I've had the great, privilege of doing some work with these communities. If you look at high performers in these very high risk, high consequence special operations communities, they have gratitude practices. Really? They do. And they incorporate them. And so, people think there's like some secret sauce or there's something, and they are very unique individuals and very special individuals, but they have those practices. They have the same tools that everyone can use. That's right. We all have these tools. You do yoga nidra, you do gratitude practice throughout the day. What else do you do? So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is is a gratitude. No matter what pops in my head, I reorient to being grateful that I'm waking up. I mean, I've had a number of close calls in life. I've lost people like everybody. I'm 45, so seen a lot of babies born, seen a lot of people die. That's just the way it goes. But I express some gratitude for just waking up. Yes. And that puts me in forward motion. And then I can do things like make my bed, reward that I'm not doing something else and start getting into things. And I tend to reward relationships in a big way. My dog's 10 years old. I raised him since he was a puppy. He's a bulldog. He's probably getting to the end. I try and really just focus on the sheer pleasure of having a bulldog. They're such characters, and him in particular. Relationships of all kinds. Like if I spend time with people, or I just try and think about mentors, people that got me where I am. I do that all the time. And I'm pretty, as you probably imagine, I talk fast, I work a lot, I'm pretty intense, but I finish my days now not feeling ground out and depleted. Doesn't mean I'm grateful for every opportunity or everything that comes my way. I have to be conscious of it, but I think a deliberate practice of relishing or enjoying what we have is so powerful.
So, those are practical ways that Dr. Andrew Huberman brings gratitude into his life. Aw, I love this. So many of you are getting value from this conversation. So, with that, I live in I think most people think that I live in a delusional state. I am so grateful and so happy and so thankful and laughing and joyful all day, every day. And stresses come up and I go through my own things. But really, as a default, I am regularly saying, I love my life. I'm regularly crying tears of joy for the life that I live. I'm regularly so grateful and so happy for my friends and the people in my life. And I tell them that. And I express that and I experience that. And it is such a gift and a joy to be able to walk through life knowing that I'm going to get everything that I've ever wanted because I see the world full of possibilities and I see the world as my oyster. And I feel like that's what gratitude does for us is it opens our lives up to possibilities in ways that we didn't even know. Well, then you have no idea how many times I've texted my friends and been like, "Oh my gosh, my flight is delayed." And I think it's like the best thing ever. Because you never know. You never know what could happen if things went according to your plan versus the plan that actually unfolds. I invite you to start to look at the ways that you can bring more gratitude into your life. And you all know I'm a big advocate for small and sustainable change in your life. So look at one thing. Maybe it's waking up and being grateful as soon as you wake up. I'm going through a relationship releasing, and I was waking up every morning thinking of him, and there was one morning that I woke up and the first thought in my mind was no, 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 and I'm like, Kira, to wake up with the answer no in your head is not a good thing. So now I wake up just grateful about my own life and just shifting my thoughts, and it's been really nice even in little ways like that. And invite your team members, the people that you work with, the people that you have conversations with, the people that you're with 40 plus hours a week, every week, invite them to LifeGuides and invite them to Motivational Monday and invite them to these conversations, because if it's influencing you and giving you great benefits, then believe me, it's going to influence a lot of people and give them great benefits. And I only ever teach things that I have actually embodied within myself. So the version of Kira that you get is a byproduct of all of these teachings that I'm giving you. And if stress is a default mode in your life, chances are you could benefit really greatly from having regular conversations with someone who can bring in stress relieving practices for you and help you live your life in a way that you have more ease, which is what LifeGuides is literally here for. Thank you all so much for being here. Next week, we're going to be talking about managing family dynamics and how to give a good apology. And then we're going to be talking about happiness hormones after that. So thank you all for being here. Happy Motivational Monday. I will give you a challenge since it's December. Um, let's have a delusional December. Let's be delusionally grateful. Let's say thank you to everyone for everything and watch how happy and beautiful your life becomes. So, happy delusional December. Go be grateful. Happy Motivational Monday. You have a great week and we will talk soon. Bye, everyone.